fun to talk about these big picture issues like all the politics around Anthropic's model and government and all the kind of negotiations. But we work with small, medium-sized businesses, and maybe Fable isn't affecting their life, but AI introduces a lot of powerful tools, but there's some risks involved as well with bringing AI into your environments, into your workflows. Like, how are you approaching that with clients that you're working with in terms of like their use of AI?
I would start with some lighter education. Anthropic's the best one right now with education classes. So they've got this website, it's called SkillJar. You go to the website, there's some free training. There's one that's really good. It's like a fundamental of AI, and it doesn't just apply to Claude. It's like general AI. There's a real push, and it's like kind of the thing our company does is try to help accelerate businesses, get these tools, accelerate using them effectively. It usually involves buying like a significant license for the staff. So usually you're buying these like licenses. So I'm usually recommending, staff usually want something like this to make their job a little easier, to tell you the truth. Like a lot of people want that. That should go along with complete this like training, and the training's light. As I'm saying, it's like, take a day and go through this, because it really helps you think of it's not just on the cybersecurity side, but like the cost side. Mm-hmm. AI is moving away from this old per seat usage to more like a consumption usage. Mm-hmm. So when you really start using it, it's like, how much are you making the model think? And it's charging you like consumption.
Yes, that's the token usage, right? So kind of what are some of the approaches to token usage we see like from, if you have an Anthropic license?
So many different models. So if you use the top model, it's super expensive.
Right.
And I mean, especially compared to other companies. So if you use like Gemini Fast, like Google's model, it's gonna be maybe like 50 times less expensive than the top end like Claude model, but like maybe almost as good for like most normal tasks. So you want to have some ability to, if you're using AI at your company, like call out the appropriate model where you can. When you use the smarter model, maybe it's more expensive, but it solves the problem quicker, and like that saves costs as well. So you really want to, beyond just the type of problem it is, you want to think about, this is where some of the training is, like how your staff is communicating with the AI. So if you use a super smart model because you're talking to it in just an openly broad way, but if you can get more specific, you can use the more basic ones that are not very expensive, like when you get some unlimited usage or really cheap tokens.
Yeah, and so we're talking about model usage. We're talking about a consumption model. But I think the big picture thing you're talking about, which is education, points to a future where you don't just have one AI person in your office, kind of is like your one AI expert who does everything, but getting your whole staff sort of trained, competent, proficient, so that they're not making risky decisions on one side, but they're making like smart, informed decisions about how they're using the tools. Is that kind of like the direction you think we're trying to push folks?
Well, I mean, I think that's just the future direction that we're all getting pulled in. So like, we're not totally there today. But if you think about it, you work in a business and then like your staff, they're subject matter experts, the area they work in. Okay. But if someone is an expert in sales, like they're like a top sales rep at your company, okay, but they're probably not necessarily like the top developer, like can't like make some tool, but they probably have the best idea for what tool would work for them. Well, now we know, like, if they're slightly technical, they can use the AI and they can almost make this thing on their own. And so, but if we would infer into the future in the next year or two, it's going to get easier and easier for that person to make the tool. So what we want to start doing at our businesses is giving that light train to all our staff. It's like pushing that capability out to the experts instead of having to like queue it back to like one person that just knows how to program to help.
Right. Taking that salesperson example, they could be frustrated with their CRM, right? And they could just be thinking like, I've just for a long time tolerated Salesforce or whatever CRM they're using. And they're like, oh, I could just make one that is tailored specifically to what I want to do. That is sort of kind of what more employees are going to be empowered to be able to do.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, so I'll bring it back to one thing that's like common that we're seeing are like small, medium business size clients. Okay, specifically with like Claude. Like, so they have an extension model in Claude. And what the extensions will do are like a connector. You can make a connector that ties into your data at your company. Like there's the common ones already made, like there's the Microsoft 365 connector, but there's also, let's say you have, or Salesforce or something. So you have some custom app, someone can make a connector that links your Claude to that app, okay? And it communicates through like an industry standard thing, like an MCP. Once that connector is set up, the most common thing that everyone would worry about on the cybersecurity side is, oh no, like the AI has access to all this. Someone might release some data, do something like that. The thing that helps you do this without being too worried about the permission level of the data is the connector is entirely reliant on how the permissions are set for the user, like outside the AI. So like with a Microsoft 365 connector, you turn it on, it links the 365 cloud for your business, which is like your email, your Teams chats, whatever, into the AI, into the Claude. But then each user that gets Claude at your business, they authorize the thing, and then their Claude instance only can see what they have access to. So it's like your security model is still kind of limited through your existing tools, like how you limited the security for what each user can see. But now they're able to do like more efficient stuff. They're able to get like more insight. So
right. So like if the user only has access to 3 SharePoint sites, that's what they'll be able to utilize the Claude connector for.
Yeah, and so like other models of doing like API access and stuff, you can still do this, but it's a lot more thinking. You tie it together, and now you have to start thinking all the security and like did I just open something up? Or this like connector model is you're tying them in, but then the individual connectors based on those already preset permissions. So there's a whole nother thing if like you're using the AI to do some work for you, send some emails. That's where this training comes in. It's like, okay, just think about the scope of what you're allowing.
Yes.
If it's like, think about like, well, what's one of the more negative things can happen? Is that worth it? You know?
Right.
But like the security model, at least like that, it's kind of got you covered there, I think, or at least you have a handle on what you're giving it access to.
Right. And not anyone could just make that connector. A global administrator has to allow that to.
That's right. Yeah. So like when you get a company like Claude, if you get Teams or enterprise version, the way it works is there's some admin that has to turn this thing on. So that's your control there. So the admin links it, but now once it's linked, it's still offering all the end users. And then the AI, remember, it's more about like at a business pushing these tasks out to those subject matter experts down to the people actually doing the job. They're able to then tick the connector and use it based on their permission.
Well, that's wonderful. And so thanks. I mean, I think that's like a great sort of primer. It's crazy to think like if we had this conversation in a month, it may be very different. Or maybe in 2 months, it could be very different, not 1 month. It was good to have you. Thanks for taking time to talk.
Yeah, sure.
And like, it's very useful. Jim's not just the CEO that's just sitting in the office making business decisions. He's out there in the field all the time. So he's seeing this stuff and interacting with clients all the time. So thanks everyone. See you next time.